Recorded by got it.
So on behalf of Shankarrao Chavan Law College Diploma Department, I welcome all the participants and the speaker for the workshop on the forensic science in the second session. And the second session is going to be on the documentary evidence and the legalities connected to the documentary evidences. So I will now like to request Phaneendar sir to start with the session. Over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm just opening the. Yes. Participants, in the morning we discussed about the forensic science and application. However, this session is exclusively about the documentary evidence. So when we're discussing about the documentary evidence, and while the question in the morning was also about some of the opinions being considered or rejected by the court, which is supposed to be given by the expert, let us first understand who is an expert. So according to you participants, whom do you think is an expert? What is an expert? Who is an expert? What is the meaning of an expert? Can you elaborate on this? Any participants? Participants, am I audible?
Yes, students, anyone can answer the questions.
Maybe they had some heavy lunch. Yes, participants, if you don't volunteer, I'll have to call out your name, and yeah, there's a chat box answer. A person with deep knowledge on the topic and ability to question. In this sense, Sonia ji, if I actually say that there is a person who actually worked as a compounder in a doctor's clinic for 20 years. When you go to the clinic, whatever the issue you go to the clinic, this compounder will have all the knowledge, what medicine has to be given. Now, can this compounder be called as an expert? Because this person has deep knowledge right now. Person who has a special knowledge about particular field. Okay, in this sense, Karuna madam, a cobbler, okay, who stitches your shoes. He has special knowledge about, that shoe stitching. So can he now be considered as an expert? Karuna Rawat? No. So in that case, who is an expert then? Anybody want to try anything more?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so an expert is a person who has the knowledge of the area and also required academic certifications also.
Okay, required academic certification also. That's a very good answer. But I want you all to refer to the provision of Section 45 of Indian Evidence Act. Because this Section 45 of Indian Evidence Act talks about relevancy of the expert's opinion. However, it also goes on to mention who is an expert. Any person who has knowledge in a particular foreign science or a foreign skill. Any person who is skilled in a foreign science or a foreign art is an expert. But here, when we discuss about the skill, nowhere it mentions about the qualification. Who said that you must be having some academic degree? Because Section 45 doesn't say so. Can you please refer to Section 45? It clearly mentions any person who is skilled in a foreign science or a foreign art, his opinion is relevant, especially in case of handwriting and fingerprint examinations. This is to be noted that in 1872, when the Evidence Act was enacted, as on that day, there was no university, there was no full-time college, just the way we have it today, which could actually offer a full-time course in handwriting and document examination or in fingerprint examination. So for that reason, in 1872, this explanation was good. Matlab, whoever possesses any foreign skill, any skill in foreign science and foreign arts, foreign matlab, which is not usually taught in the academics or regular course of study. Foreign is something which doesn't.
Sir.
Sir.
Sorry to interrupt, sir, but your voice is little bit cracking in between.
Cracking in between. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold a minute.
So your voice is breaking in between. So we are not able to understand the words. Some words, those are missing in between.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yeah.
My network interface is good. All right. Okay. Just on a safer side, I'm just one quick moment. I'll just try to correct the network from my end.
Okay, sir.
Sir, can you please repeat the meeting ID?
Just a minute, sir.
Sir, as far as my screen says,
yeah,
your bandwidth is low, is what it says.
Now it is clear, sir. Now it is clear actually.
Take care. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
If in case you find any difficulty, let me know. I'll just also try to correct the network from my side.
Sure. Okay.
Fine. So as far as the section 45 goes about who is an expert, we are discussing that any person who possesses foreign skill or a foreign art is to be considered as an expert. And this section exclusively applies for a handwriting and fingerprint expert. In spite of several universities which offers a lot of courses today, even today we still follow section 45 as one of the qualification criteria for a handwriting or a fingerprint expert. If this is the scenario, the first question which arises and which has to be answered before us right now is that who is a handwriting expert and how is he different from a document examiner? Which is the right word, do you think, dear participants? A handwriting expert or a document examiner? Who is a handwriting expert? Who is a document examiner? While the question is about the documentary evidences, okay, so what is the right word to be used? Document examiner or a handwriting expert?
Sir, handwriting expert.
What does a handwriting expert do? Yes, go ahead, answer my question. What does a handwriting expert do? It's okay, you answer whatever you know. As the dictionary meaning says, handwriting expert, it actually goes on to say the one who specializes about the handwriting, and this person can examine if by comparing two different writings, we can conclude if both the writings are written by the same person or not. That is on one thing. It also goes on to answer if the signatures are signed by the same person or not. So signature is the extended part of handwriting. So for that reason, a handwriting expert can effectively say who wrote what. Correct. But if in case I gave you a check for 1,000, you altered that 1,000 to be 10,000. Where will you send this check to examine? Whom do you approach in this case? Any answers, dear participants?
Handwriting Writing expert.
To handwriting expert, sir.
Again, you are sending it to a handwriting expert. Because in this case, the question is not about the handwriting. The question is about the addition of a zero. Isn't it? So this amounts to now ink examination. Are you still sending it to a handwriting expert? Yes.
No, it should go to a document
examiner.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. You logically correct when you say if it is about the ink, it must go to a document examiner. But make a note.
Yes.
Make a note that in our entire legal dictionary, in any of the books, in any of the acts, there is no mention of a document examiner. There is no word which is used as document experts. Our legal dictionary will still say it is handwriting expert only. In India, as per our legal books, legal dictionary is concerned, we still refer the document examiners as handwriting experts only. A handwriting expert will not examine the documents as per the dictionary meaning of it. He has a professional experience or a jurisdiction over paper, pen, ink, typewriter, printer, security features of the document, signature, handwriting, rubber stamps, everything becomes a part of our examination of a document, examination is concerned. But in India, we refer these people as handwriting experts only, which doesn't limit only us. I mean, only for us to examine only handwriting only. Our domain will expand till the document examination, but legally we are called as handwriting experts only. This is our basic understanding about the experts. But the forensic document examination is categorized into two different examinations. One is signature or handwriting based. Another is non-handwriting based, which includes alterations, additions, erasures, examination of printers, typewriters, rubber stamps, security features of the document, and sequence of the document being executed. Typewritten content was executed first, or signature was done, or signature is done on a blank paper, then the content has been developed on that. This is sequence of the strokes or sequence of contents. So all these things becomes the examination as per the document examiner is concerned. This is the jurisdiction in which the document examiners will work on. While we are discussing about the handwriting as the first part of it here, let us try to understand what is the other aspects. We discuss about paper and we examine the paper, its production process, its fold, similarity in the whole bunch of documents. Same paper has been used in 10, 12 sheets of the document. That becomes the examination. Writing instrument, which pen has been used to write which part of the document. Okay, so the ink is the same pen, same ink used for signing all the sheets, writing all the sheets. That becomes the question. And to be very significantly, you can understand in the university level examination answer sheets, when you want to change your pen, you should take a signature of the invigilator. Why? Because invigilator permitting you to change the pen is a allowed process. If the invigilator has not signed for the change of pen, that might be considered as a malpractice. So like this, differences in the ink in the same document might amount to suspicious factors. So that also can be examined by a document expert. Typewriters, rubber stamps, printers, as I already discussed, security document, which includes passports, stamp papers, or your examination university level answer sheets. These days, what are the answer sheets you get will also contain security features. The checks what we write for the banks will also have the security features in that. Okay, but while discussing all these things, the question actually arises before us as to what is handwriting, because the first element in the document which we usually question is the signature or the handwriting. So let me ask the question to all the participants here. What is handwriting according to you, and how do you explain the handwriting? Anybody want to give a try on this? What is handwriting, dear participants? Arey, we have been writing several years. Nobody asked this question to us so far, isn't it? हम लिखते रहते हैं बस, कोई ये क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछे कि handwriting का मतलब क्या है. But it is very essential to understand because we are now discussing about handwriting as evidence. If you don't understand what is handwriting, you can't be very confident of using it as evidence. Now tell me, what is handwriting? Okay, nobody want to give a try.
Handwriting, it's a handwritten on a substance by human being.
Okay, anything written by the hand by a human being is handwriting. But why is it called as handwriting only? Why is it called as handwriting? Any answer for this? Why is it called as handwriting only? Obvious answer is that because we use hands to write, that is why it is called as handwriting, isn't it? But if such is the answer, look at the screen right now and tell me, what do you call this as? Do we call this as leg writing or a teeth writing, something like that? Or do we still call this as handwriting? Or we should be calling it as writing only? What is it you have to answer for this?
It would be still handwriting.
This would still be handwriting even though the hand is not being used? Okay. Yes, technically speaking, your handwriting is not your handwriting. You need to understand this. Layman's understanding is handwriting, okay. But technically, your handwriting is not your handwriting, but it is your mind writing. The source of your writing is not the hand. Hand is just a medium to write. You use your hand to write, which doesn't mean the writing starts from your hand. The writing starts from your mind, which comes to the paper or any surface by various mediums, which could include teeth, feet, nose, hand, it could be whatever part of your other body. So technically, it is the mind writing. So before the court, when we are using it as a evidence, the question arises, can you not change your handwriting? How many of you here can change your handwriting? Are there any participants in this session here who actually can change their handwriting? Nobody thinks you can change your handwriting? Come on. You write your record book, case observation or practical record book जो आप लिखते हैं ना, you try to write as neat as possible. But do you also write as neat in your regular course of action? No. That means you're trying to change your handwriting over there. In your examination answer sheet, we have been changing our handwriting. Why? Because the neat handwriting carries 5 marks usually in our earlier days of schooling. So we try to change our writing and write as neat as possible. And we really did try to change our handwriting. But when we have to believe that you can change your handwriting, tell me something, why does the court of law still rely upon your handwriting as a good piece of evidence? When we have to believe that the writing can be changed, why does the court rely upon your handwriting as a evidence? Is the court not so educated? Is the court not so literate? Doesn't the court know that one can change the handwriting? This becomes a question before us right now. Yes, the answer to this is that since that you have considered the writing to be mind writing, let us now discuss about what is mind. Okay, and on the screen, are you able to see a diagram? If you are able to see a diagram, can you please answer me what you're able to see on the screen? You're able to see the mind or the brain? What is it on the screen?
Brain.
It is
Brain.
brain. So if this is the brain, what is mind then? What is mind? What is brain? It seems like I am digging too deep into your brain right now. However, brain is a hardware. Brain is an organ of your body, but mind is a function of the brain. You cannot see the mind. आप कभी मन को देख नहीं पाते हैं. Okay, manas or the man is the function of the brain. So when we believed writing is the mind writing, not the brain writing, we discussed it is the mind writing. So the mind is classified into two different categories, which is conscious mind and subconscious mind. So tell me something, if everybody here has both the minds, if everybody has conscious mind and subconscious mind, or is there anyone who says, I only have conscious mind, or is there anyone who says, I only have subconscious mind? What do you think? Participants, does everybody has both the minds, conscious and subconscious mind?
Yes, it is consist of both.
It consists of both. So in such case, which mind is bigger and stronger?
Subconscious.
Subconscious. कितना परसेंट का
Subconscious
subconscious?
mind.
या कितना परसेंट subconscious होता है, कितना परसेंट conscious होता है? It could be 51%, 49%. मतलब conscious is 49, 51% subconscious. ये भी हो सकता है. To say it is bigger, or it could be 60-40, 70-30, 80-20. कुछ भी हो सकता है ना. What is the mind? What is the subconscious mind strength versus conscious mind?
70-30, I guess.
चलो हम ऑप्शन बना लेते हैं इसको. हाँ 70-30 one time. और कोई है, कोई दूसरा नंबर लेने वाले? 70-30 दो. Fine. The answer is that it is surprising and shocking to some people here. The answer is 90-10. Your subconscious mind is 90% stronger than your conscious mind, which means to say, whatever you do on everyday basis, only 10% of the entire activity is conscious. 90% of such activity you do subconsciously. And let me ask you for the examples of some subconscious activities. Can you give me some examples of subconscious activities, dear participants? The routine activities which you can consider it to be subconscious. Or can you give me some examples of conscious activities? What are the everyday activities which you do consciously, and what are those activities which you do subconsciously? Go ahead, answer my question.
Sir, may I?
Go ahead, sir.
So whenever I'm driving from my home to the college, I never think which road is to be followed, or when I see the signal, I don't think that whether I should stop, or after watching that particular red color signal, I stop automatically my vehicle. So I think that is the subconscious thing which I am doing.
You're choosing the route subconsciously, or you're managing the vehicle subconsciously?
No, I'm managing my vehicle consciously, but I'm choosing my route subconsciously.
Okay. Which means you would have been traveling to the same route for a period of time, very consciously. मुझे अभी right लेना है, मुझे अभी left लेना है, अभी so much distance के बाद मुझे U-turn लेना है. So you are programmed. मतलब you have been doing this for several days, several months, several years. Today, that particular route has registered yourself as a subconscious activity. Correct. But when you also chose the driving activity, okay, is driving conscious or subconscious? How many of you people believe riding a bike or driving a car is subconscious or conscious?
It's a subconscious.
That means you don't drive the vehicle consciously.
Uh, the kind of activities we do, like a sudden braking or pressing a clutch, everything is subconscious. So we don't think that we need to press the brake or something like that. It happens subconsciously, I guess so.
Okay. Let me give you the clear instance of the driving activity, which I believe most of you would have had an experience of at least riding a bicycle or riding a motorcycle or driving any kind of four-wheelers. The first day of your learning a motorcycle or a car, for example, you had too many things to manage. Okay, you had front brake, back brake, clutch, gear, accelerator. बहुत सारा चीज तो था आपको समझने में. And after all these things, you were effectively able to start the vehicle and you're being carefully guided. अभी clutch पकड़ो, उसके बाद में gear लगाओ, slowly release the clutch and raise the accelerator. And you were successfully able to move the vehicle. And suddenly there was some dog which came into your road. And people are shouting, brake, brake, brake lagao. You will be searching where the brake is on the first day. But today, after several days of practice, you're driving the same car, same motorcycle in a much higher speed than what you used to ride in the past days. You'll be 100, 120 kilometer speed. Suddenly dog comes into your road and you don't really search where the brake is. The vehicle comes to your control automatically, which actually means the repeated conscious activity will make the activity subconscious. When you keep on doing the same activity the same way, it becomes a habit, is what the understanding is. So while one of the couple of comments which you see on the chat box says blinking of the eyes and breathing, both of it does not have anything to do with the mind. Both of it belongs to physiology, the body. Blinking of the eyes and breathing, both are physiological reactions, not psychological reactions. Psychology is mind. Okay, so there are situations where the person is in coma, where his mind is not active, he is still breathing, he is not dead. Okay, so blinking of the eyes or breathing, both are physiological actions, but not anything to do with the mind. Munna Bhai MBBS में part मुन्ना भाई MBBS part 1 में एक लड़का होता है, एक पेशेंट होता है, वो कोमा में होता है, so his eyes are open, okay, but his mind is not reacting. So like that becomes a physiology but not psychology. But what we're discussing right now is psychological classification of your mind, which actually means any activity which you do consciously, the activity becomes subconscious over a period of time. And let me also give you this example. Whatever you know about yourself is just 10%. Whatever you are and which you don't know about yourself is 90%. That is subconsciousness. Consciousness is what you think you are. Let me ask the open question in this session. Are there any athletes here? Any person who runs fast runners here? Anyone who is here? Athletes, runners? Okay, nobody is here. But how many of you here has a potential to run faster than a dog? Can anyone here run faster than a dog? Let me see your comments on the chat box.
At
You
times,
can't
sir,
run.
when he's behind.
When the dog is behind you, you are always ahead in the dog, which means when the dog is chasing you, without your realization, you have possessed that skill to run faster than the dog. But when I ask you, you don't think you can run faster than the dog. This is what the understanding about the conscious and subconscious. Subconscious is what you actually are. Consciousness is what you think you are. And for all those who always want to change yourself, and change yourself, and you have not been able to change yourself, the only understanding is that you have not practiced it for such time where the change becomes subconscious? Tell me something. How many of you here want to really get up early in the morning and go for jogging or gymming or go for some kind of games? Are there anyone here who wish to do that? Or
Yes, sir.
are there anyone here who tried doing it and left it off? No, no, no. मेरे साथ ये नहीं होता है करके. Are there people here?
Me, sir.
Okay, what did you try doing it?
For gymming, but couldn't been able to.
Ah, see, you could not continue gymming because you are now feeling मुझे हर दिन जल्दी उठना पड़ता है. ये मेरे तरफ से नहीं होता है. ठीक है? But the understanding psychologically is that any activity consciously you do for 21 days, the activity becomes subconscious. This is not my statement. This is a psychological statement. Any activity which you do for 21 days continuously, 22nd onwards, it becomes subconscious. And if you have not tried to change yourself for 21 continuous days, that means you cannot change yourself. And I'll give you open challenge right now. You get up early in the morning, 5:30 every day by keeping alarm 21 days continuously, 22nd day onwards, you don't require alarm. You could have seen this with your older generation people. They get up exactly at 5 o'clock, exactly at 4:30. People who reside in the villages, or they don't depend upon the alarms. Their body is so programmed, they subconsciously get up at 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, whichever time they have been practicing. So similarly, whatever activity you do for 21 days becomes subconscious. And why are we discussing about this in the session? Because your handwriting, when you want to answer my question, is your handwriting conscious or subconscious? What is your answer?
Subconscious.
Your handwriting is subconscious. And when we're discussing subconscious, mind itself is 90%. We have to understand the handwriting has 90% subconscious strokes than compared to 10% which might have conscious attempts. Let us just try to do a small activity right now. You all should be having some kind of reading materials with you. I'll dictate a paragraph right now. Go ahead and complete my paragraph. I'm going to give you a small dictation. Let us write this first to understand our handwriting, if it is conscious or subconscious. Are we all ready with the pen and paper? Fine, go ahead. In indoor zoo, there was a monkey. There was a monkey called Raju. There was a monkey called Raju. This monkey had the habit of throwing bananas at the people coming to the zoo. At the people coming to the zoo. Looking at this monkey, other two monkeys, Simple and Dimple, also started doing the same thing. I was called to resolve this issue. Full stop. You can sign 3 times. Put your signature 3 times in the same document. Put your signature 3 times. Done? Okay. Now, you can also put today's date and place. Put today's date and place. All right. Now, let me ask you this question. I would want you all to broadcast your video so that the handwriting samples can be shown on the screen. Please broadcast the video and show the handwriting samples, especially signature part of it. Signature. Yes. I could see Sonia Gupta have signed 3 signatures on the left side, one below the other. All right. But I could not see any other participants displaying the writing samples. Participants, I want to see the writing samples. Can you please broadcast it on the video? Okay, Mahesh has signed almost in the mid part of the document, one after the other, matlab side by side signatures. Correct? But Mahesh and I can also see one more participant. Yes, yes. Fine. Participants, you can also see on the screen that there are different people who have signed at different places. Thank you. You can cut short your video right now. And let me ask you all the same question. When I told you to sign, did I ever mention how to sign? One below the other or one after the other? I never mentioned. Did I mention to put the date and the place on the left side, right side, before the paragraph, after the paragraph? I did not mention anything, but still, you guys have chosen to put these entries at the places how you have been practicing. So this actually shows that whatever the practice you have been having it over a period of time, that becomes subconscious to every one of you. Now answer my question. The writing activity which you did was conscious or subconscious? What was it? Was it conscious or subconscious?
So when I was writing the paragraph, it was conscious, but when I signed and the dates and all this was subconscious.
Okay. Is there any other answers for this by anyone? No. Fine. Let me make it very simple. When I gave you the paragraph to write, you started thinking, "Arey, where did this Raju come from? Where did this monkey come from?" Simple and dimple. ये कोई नाम हो सकता है क्या? ये बकवास स्टोरी लिखा रहे हैं. But you are conscious about the content what you wrote, but you are not conscious about the style of your writing. The style of your writing is subconscious, and the content what you wrote is conscious. And for this reason, your handwriting might have an impact by certain changes, which is only limited to 10%. 90% of the strokes in your writing is subconscious, and for this reason, even today, the court of law relies upon handwriting and signature as a good piece of evidence because it is 90% subconscious. You cannot change your writing. You can change your writing to what extent? If you want to change your writing sample, to what extent you can change it?
The style of writing.
If you want to change, to what extent you can change? What percentage you can change? You can only change up to 10%, which is conscious. Whichever the characteristics you know is what you can change. Subconscious is something which you don't even know. If you don't even know what you have, how can you change it? So it's only those characteristics which you know you can change. That is 10% conscious. Which you don't even know is 90%. That is why handwriting is a very good piece of evidence before the court of law, because you yourself cannot change everything in your own writing sample. That is what the evidentiary value of the handwriting what we're discussing. Are we clear? Any questions on this? All right. Participants on the screen, there is a case. We can see it is a suicide note. I know you don't read the vernacular script which is mentioned on the screen, but apart from the language, do you find anything suspicious in this? Is there anything suspicious about this writing sample? Nobody suspects anything in this? Are you sure? If you are the advocate for this accused, how do you look at the case?
So the person must have not got any pen or, the paper or any substance. So she took her hand as a substance and wrote what she wanted. Possibility that she didn't had much time to find.
What is suspicious in
paper.
this? What is suspicious in this? No suspiciousness about this? Okay. First of all,
Sir,
yes, sir, go ahead.
sir, in first picture, there is no bangles.
Okay.
And second and third, there we can see bangles.
Okay. There's a correction. The first photograph, the bangle would have been back. Okay. And the writing when the bangle is back, because it is overlapping on the content. While taking the photograph of this content, the bangle would have been made front. Good observation, but it has an explanation for this. Apart from this, anything else you suspect? In the investigations, it is said, things are not seen unless it is looked for. If you don't look for the clue, even though there is a clue, you will not find it. You have to have the aptitude of looking at the document and to find the flaw. First of all, this is such a case which I have given the opinion, which was also appreciated by the court for the finding, because this case was a case of suicide note, and as you can see, it is written on the left hand of the writer. As a fact, this writer was right-handed person, so right hand use करके left hand पे वो लिखे हैं. Mahesh has got the answer correct. Okay, in the chat box he mentions we can't write this much straight. Very correct. This is what the understanding in this case is. The writing जो है, it appears to be very straight. If you are writing it on your own hand, can you write so straight? And the answer is that you cannot write in general sense. But there could be some people here, I can put your challenge, I'll write as straight as I can do it. What they might do is that, okay, look at me because I am now broadcasting the video. You can hold your hand straight, closer to your body, and start writing very, very carefully. In this case, I can maintain my baseline straight. I can do that. But if that is the case, the question arises, how did you write at this part of your arm, lower part of your arm? If I'm closing it on my body, I cannot write the lower part of my arm. Right on the lower side, I had to open my hand like this and can write. And when you open your arm like this, baseline cannot be maintained. General sense. And there could be one argument which says, no, no, no. I can open my arm and yet carefully, I can still write straight. Let us take this as a remote possibility, because before the court of law, you must have to prove the evidences beyond the reasonable doubts. There should not be even a single doubt, because the benefit of doubt is given to the accused. So let us go with this understanding also. There might be people who would write opening the hand and as straight as it is appearing, and with all the patience. While the person want to commit suicide, they might not have so much of patience to write it. That is in general sense. But still, remote possibility, this person took extra efforts to write this. So out of all this probability, I gave an opinion that this is not the writer who wrote this. And first, I gave opinion that this writing doesn't even match with the girl. We had some known writing samples of the girl, and by comparing that, I gave an opinion saying that this writing does not match with the girl. But the public prosecutor in this case put open challenge and said, I'm going to get an opinion in my favor. And he got an opinion from State Forensic Science Laboratory that this writing matched with the girl karke FSL ne ek report de diya. Based on the FSL report, I questioned the FSL report as a third opinion, questioning this facts. In the third opinion which I gave, the question was all about, can any person write like this on the forearm? But in my first opinion, the question was only about the writing. Did this person write this? Handwriting matches with this person or not? That was the question. But the third opinion was, can there be a possibility of the person writing this? However, in all the experiments which I conducted, because I did an experiment, I called 50 students, okay, asked them to write on the arm. I asked them to write the lower part straight, everything. I literally conducted a research. And the outcome of the research was that people were not able to write it. And I also gave this in the report saying that the only possibility that the person can write in the lower arm is by opening the arm like this. And with extra carefulness, extra cautiousness, one can still try to put the writing straight. But if such is the case, when the writing is open, you cannot write as straight as it could be. And if you're closing it, you can write straight. But if you're closing and writing, the skin compresses. If the writing is written by closing your arm to the body, the skin is compressed. And if you're opening your arm like this, the skin expands and the writing should look expanded, which is not present in this case. And this finding is very, very important because I also wrote in my report, a skin specialist observation on this regard is also essential. Because as forensic experts, though it's a straightforward case, see, in the judgment also, the court did not refer to a skin specialist. They relied upon my observation. As a handing expert is concerned, can there be a possibility of writing it on the skin? That is different. But forensic experts has a boundary to work. We cannot exceed our boundary. We cannot, there cannot be ultra vires. Okay. So for that reason, I mentioned, after all my observation, I still mentioned a skin specialist observation is also essential because the skin is not my domain of work. All right, on the screen, participants, you can see a writing sample, which is on an envelope cover. This envelope cover contained some private photograph of a girl, which was clicked without her knowledge, without her consent. And girl wants to know who is the writer or who sent this particular photograph or whatever. And this girl believes this is done by someone who is very close to her. Because such kind of photograph is only available to very close people. But she cannot doubt everyone. And this is a college girl. So what approach we took for the examination purpose is that, see, we had to follow the principle of examination, the forensics. The principle is that likes with likes. Likes is to be compared with likes, just like Article 14, where equality before the law. If this person has an advocate, the other person should also have an advocate to appear before the court. For that reason, legal aid is given, isn't it? So if he, in the forensics, what happens is that if the sample is writing sample, as you can see on screen, I have to get English writing only for the examination. I cannot compare Marathi, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil script with the English script because we follow the principles of likes to be compared with likes. capitals with capitals, numerics with numerics, writing with writing. So in such case, how do you collect the writing sample? If you go and ask a person, write Raghavendra, house number so and so, so and so, and so, a person who has really written this will become more conscious. He might try changing his writing style. Yet we know it is only 10% possible, change it. But yet, why should you even alert a person? Okay, so in that sense, what I did was, if you look at the content here, this content was split. This is the content which we made the person to write. Every content in this which is bold, block, you can see some characters of block. Those characters are important for us. If you observe Raghavendra, R-A-G, R is separately written, A-G is separately written, H-A is again independently written. I can consider H-A-V-E, have, to be a word which can be compared to this writing, because likes with likes. All I require is H, which is independently written, A, which is independently written. That can also be one approach. Or I can start taking the word itself, H-A-V-E, have. So here, if you look at the contents, there are characters H-A-V-E, which we have taken. Okay, and M-A, Maruti. Okay, we have also have the word Maruti, and we have tried to get the same content as a specimen sample. Only such known samples, like samples, can be compared with the like samples. And this was a discrete investigation. The person who wrote this did not even know that this sample is going to be considered for the examination of that particular envelope cover. So in the court of law, when you're trying to take a specimen sample, you can take whatever is questioned. Suppose there is a check में कोई भी content है, you can ask the person to write the same content, but you can also make the person to write a paragraph which might contain these words. That's also a good practice of taking the reference samples. On the screen, what you can see is a non-handwriting case. This case, the document is printed, type printed. This has been sent to a person, anonymous person has sent it. If you are the investigator, what would you do in this case? How do you find who sent this letter anonymously? Please go ahead, answer this. We are discussing about handwriting examination. अगर कोई document में handwriting ही है नहीं, तो आप कैसे examination करेंगे उसको? Here we have two approaches. One, there's something called as forensic linguistics. The language which has been used in this particular letter can be compared with a known sample of the people. Okay, see, suppose you are using your mobile phone. Your friend takes your mobile phone and sends a WhatsApp message to someone. Suppose I took your mobile phone and sent a message to another person. Look, I am going to kill you tomorrow morning. Okay, and that person lodges a complaint against you because the number from which the message came belongs to you. How do you take a defense? Yes, you have to agree. Yeah, this is my mobile phone number. This shows I have sent a message, but how do you plead that you have not sent it? It's only because of the forensic linguistics. The language what you use makes a difference. It could be used for examination of the email, examination of the WhatsApp messages, SMS, whatever the question is. Forensic linguistics can be used for the examination, and this is a new trend. You don't find this examination in most of the cases earlier. This is a next generation, technology or the technical approach where you can examine based on the language capability of an individual. This subject is an art subject, but still it is used for investigation aspect in the branches of forensic linguistics. But in the present case, what we did, there were several letters which are written in the sequence. Because we told the person not to open the next letter which comes to your address and give the letter to us intact. So they gave the letter intact, and we processed this letter using a chemical called ninhydrin. We dipped this letter under ninhydrin chemical, and because of which we got the fingerprints on the document. And this fingerprint, because the envelope cover was not open, we had to believe that the one who sent this letter by packing this, the fingerprint belongs to that person only. And based on this fingerprint, we collected the specimen samples inside the company. There are 95 people who were working in the same company. We took the fingerprint samples of each and every person, compared the fingerprints what was available on this document with the fingerprint what we took. By the fingerprint examination, we actually found the person who was sending it anonymously. And this is an abuse case, abuse letter. He has claimed some people, these, that, and all. Such kind of letters will be keep on coming to different companies, different corporates. This is how it has to be dealt with. I want to take up the yes. This is going to be the last case discussion for this hour. So where okay, look at the document, and I know again the language is not a question in this case. Apart from the language, do you find anything suspicious, unusual in this document?
Stamp on the written material.
Stamp on the written material actually belongs to the court. When the court is giving a certified document, they put a seal, and this document might be the photocopy of such certified document. So stamp on the content is not a question. Next.
Number is different way.
Different?
There is 1144/74.
Correct. Okay. The first line numerics you're talking to. What do you
Yes,
find
sir.
suspicious in that?
Everything is written in local script, and that is in English, I think.
Okay. There can be practice where bilingual documents can be made. There is a possibility. That doesn't amount to fraudulency. Next.
So the whole document, I mean, the paragraph looks same, but the end, I mean, the last 3-4 lines,
Yes.
it's a little different. The handwriting is different.
Matlab, they are tried compressing the content with the available space over there. इसका मतलब ये भी हो सकता है, signatures were already present, but while preparing the document, they found space is less, and they would have squeezed the content in the space available. But this is suspicious, but not fraudulent. There can be possibility, because you also might have done this in the examinations. Last sheet, okay, instead of taking additional sheet, I'll just write small and finish it off before that particular sheet. That is a permitted. That alone doesn't amount to suspicion, fraudulency, isn't it? Fine. Next. Anything else you can suspect in this?
So when we put a stamp, if it is a written document, the stamps come on the written thing.
Content.
Here, yeah, on the content. Here it's on the paper, and then the content is written.
However, your point of observation is correct. But on the photocopy document, you cannot examine this. Even if we consider, yes, the content was not there and the signature was first present, stamp was first present, and then the content has been written, that examination can only be done on the original document. The sequence of strokes, which was first, which was next, can only be examined on the original documents. But in this photocopy document, we could not examine that. But apart from that, what else you can see? However, in this
So
case,
the
yes, go ahead.
so the date of the stamp is 9th June, whereas the date of the document is 11th June.
There is possibility because 9th June 1974, as you can see, the stamp paper is sold by the state treasury. Earlier days, the government treasury department used to sell the stamp paper, which used to be bought by the stamp vendor. There are people who are called stamp vendors. Okay, and this stamp vendor would have purchased this stamp papers in bulk. And on 11th of the same month, 11th of June, this stamp vendor would have sold this stamp paper to the user. In this case, Dodda Bhusen Saab, Dodda Budan Saab was a purchaser of the stamp paper. There can also be a possibility that 11th, the stamp vendor has sold this paper. 9th June, state has sold this to stamp vendor.
So, is that the thumb impression?
You need fingerprint in that. So for that reason, you cannot verify this. In this case, what was very important is that is when I'm trying to give you their significance. What is more important in this case is this. Look at the screen right now. The stamp paper is said to be dated on 9th June 1974, which means the State Department has sold this paper on 9th June 1974. In this case, the case was given to me for examination of the Urdu signature in this. But instead of verifying the Urdu signature, I did something without even the examination of the signature. We cracked this case. We convinced the court that this is a fake document. I only filed an RTI before the State Treasury Department to give me the transaction details of all the stamp papers which are sold on Sundays in the past 50 years. Because 9th June 1974 is a Sunday. And the person who created this document did not really think that this could be a fatal error or fatal mistake. 9th June 1974 being Sunday, no stamp paper could have been sold by the State Treasury Department. But you should also understand the stamp vendor, 11th June 1974, that can be a Sunday because stamp vendor is a private individual. He can sell the stamp paper on any holiday, any Sunday. But the state cannot sell the stamp paper on any Sunday. So for that reason, we were able to convince the court even without questioning the signature. In this case, the signature was forged. That's a different case. But without questioning the signature itself, on the basis of the facts of the case, facts of the document, we were able to show to the court that this case is to be dismissed because it's a fake document. So for that reason, date significance, execution significance, signature significance, everything has a value when it comes to the examination of the documents. That is why every element in the document, which is paper, pen, ink, typewriter, rubber stamp, printer, the content, the stamp vendor, uska rubber stamp, still whatever you can see in the document, every such element has its own evidentiary value. When you question it, you'll get to know, and you should know what to question and the possibility of the examination. When you know such examinations to be conducted, you can effectively advise your clients as to what are things to be done. Accordingly, advise you can give the advice to the court that what can be done in this case, because the judges will not act even if they know about this. It requires an advocate to plead and request before the court what the judge has to be doing this. So for this reason, the advocates, the law professionals has got the complete responsibility of what to question, when to question, how to question. So if you don't understand this, the case would definitely be damaged, just like the way we discussed about the earlier case, Dhananjay Chatterjee versus State of West Bengal. If the advocate could not plead before the court that there is a medical evidence, so if he had pleaded before the court on those grounds, maybe that person could not have been given death penalty. That case was of a death penalty. So for that reason, as advocates, you have better responsibility and bigger responsibility before the court in handling the evidences. So with this, dear participants, I conclude my session at this hour. Any questions on this, you can go ahead asking me about this. Any doubts, any clarifications on this?
Yes, students, any questions? I think it was very interesting lecture, sir. You have activated the brains of students by asking too many questions, that what you find in this particular document, what is the discrepancy, so that they can understand these particular minute details regarding the documentary evidences while practicing in the court of law. So that is very helpful for all the students to know these minute details. Yeah.
I don't see any questions coming up. So
Yeah,
with this,
yeah.
sir, we can take the session to the conclusion part of it.
Sure, sure. Thank you, sir, for making this particular session very much interesting and giving us the for narrating us the stories of regarding the ground realities, what you have faced as a part of your court experience and working experience. So I'm very much thankful about this particular interesting lecture, and I declare here that this particular session is over. And also I would like to request all the participants again to join for the third session, which is scheduled tomorrow at 12 p.m. Yeah. Thank you, sir. So here I declare that the session is over. Thank you.
So before we conclude, I think there is one question on the chat box.
Yeah.
I'll just answer this question and we can then conclude our session. If a person can write in multiple ways, there is multiple handwritings.
Handwritings.
Something called as multiple handwritings because you can consciously write in whichever way you want it. We are examining the subconscious writing habits. Conscious is just 10%, subconscious is 90%. So there is no better way to suppress all the 90% subconscious writing habits in a particular writing sample. Consciously, calligraphy, for example, a slowly writing calligraphy, that is a conscious writing. That is not your subconscious writing. So we are examining the subconscious writing and not the conscious writing. Even if the person writes consciously, we can still examine because there will be 90% conscious traits in that. Vishaka?
Okay. Sure.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So with this, we can conclude our session for the day. We'll meet up tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.